think like motivation, and I think you'll like from conversations with you, like motivations really come from your family. Like, and that's like, I'm a family man. I've got a 4.5-year-old and 2.5-year-old, an amazing wife and so on. And like everything that I do and I focus on is for them. And, you know, that drives me to be successful and provide for my family at a level that I want to be at. So that is my absolute 100% motivation is that. Well, yeah, my wife's actually probably more in tap with this, you know, in terms of if she's recommending books to me all the time, she's recommending podcasts to me all the time. And
is she aware of Fueled by Spite?
She is,
as she should.
And she's excited to be on an episode. Hopefully, a much better and more articulate guest than myself.
What the hell's going on out here?
All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Fueled by Spite. As always, I am your host, Dr. James Taylor. And today, as we were just talking about those returning guests, you'll notice the ambiance, the surroundings, the set, if you will, is different because we are in Edinburgh, Scotland, and I am joined today by a long friend, Mr. Richard Waterson of Eau Claire rugby fame, of worldwide internet technology fame.
Well, we'll talk about
of unending modesty, apparently.
Yeah.
So, Ritchie and I mean, we go back to Eau Claire, Wisconsin, 2002, repping the Blue Golds, if you will, ECRFC. So, obviously, I know your story. Do me a favor, share with our listeners and our viewers, what is your origin story, aside from the fact that, again, lifelong friends, why are you here?
Well, let me start with the how do I know James Taylor story. So I was a year, maybe 2 years ahead of James Taylor in Eau Claire, playing rugby, great community in the rugby team there. And the start of a new semester, I was standing in the middle of the field with the senior guys in the team. And all of a sudden this, I don't know what, stallion glides across the pitch. And someone said, "Oh, this guy was a Minnesota high school state player or whatever." And then like 4 guys like, "Oh yeah." Like, so that was my first introduction to James Taylor. And yeah, I think that was 2002, 2003 maybe. So we're talking 20 plus years of friendship, connection. And again, Eau Claire Rugby just has that, you know, your friends for life.
Absolutely.
Really. So it's a community, it's a brotherhood, and you know, we're sitting in Edinburgh, Scotland in February, and here we are.
It was 02, early 24. Yeah, 22 years later.
Yeah, exactly. So my story, born and raised in Dungannon, Northern Ireland. Grew up there, went to school in Dungannon, and kind of took a little bit of a road less traveled and went to university in Wisconsin. So moved over to Wisconsin in 2001. Knew nothing about it. The only thing I knew about it was that 70s show, the Wisconsin. that was it. I'd heard of the Green Bay Packers, but I don't think I'd placed them in Wisconsin. So it was all a learning curve for me. Moved over. Got a scholarship year 2, stayed there for 4 years of college, graduated, and then had 1 year of a visa to work in the States. So worked in a company called Clearwire that was setting up in Eau Claire. And during that 4 years, played rugby, met a lot of good people, and now I have moved back to Belfast, Northern Ireland, but I'm a frequent visitor of Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Eau Claire, and hopefully soon to be
the Metroplex, People's Republic of Texas.
Exactly. Try some of that barbecue.
That's right.
Exactly.
So what are you doing now? So you left Eau Claire, you came back here.
Yeah. So
to do what?
Moved back in 2006 and didn't really know what to do. Didn't really have a plan. I think my plan was to move back to America as soon as I could. But fortunately met my wife pretty quickly after I moved back home and started dating her and got to a point where we decided to move to London for a couple of years. So when I moved back, I went into a recruitment agency looking for a job and got offered a job working for the recruitment agency. So started working in that 2007, worked for 5 or 6 years, and maybe like yourself, had aspirations of doing things a bit differently, a bit better. There's ways of doing things in London that weren't being utilised in Belfast, and then even looking further afield, like what's the market trends in New York or Los Angeles or all these big like cities that we could implement in a smaller market like Belfast. So decided to set up my own agency in 2016. And
how long were you in the working world before that? Working for somebody else?
2007 to 2016.
Oh shoot! Okay, 9 years. Yeah.
So a good bit of time, sort of learning how to do things, seeing a few different markets, and set up in 2016 a company called Hayward Hawk, and we've been going pretty strong and growing ever since.
So what does Hayward Hawk have to do with the fabric of the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland specifically?
Wow, good question.
Thank
you. You get them every once in a while. Yeah, look, I think Belfast is a great city, phenomenal city. It's my home. I've raised a family there and enjoy it very much. But it's also a small city, a few 100,000 people and so on, and sometimes it's a bit insular. So we try to look at market differences across the world. So a kind of local mindset, but global feel. So we do work across all over the United States. Currently working on vacancies in Boston, Seattle, Chicago, and then remote roles across America. We've got roles in Germany, we've got roles in London, we've got roles all over Ireland. So we have a Belfast-based agency that spreads a lot further afield. We try to utilize as much modern technology, like the bleeding edge technologies, AI, and so on and so forth, but keeping that personal touch.
Now, while I agree with you, that was a really good question I asked you.
Yeah.
That wasn't the answer I was going for.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to lead you, and I apparently did it poorly. The literal words.
Hayward, Hawk. You know what? We get asked this all the time, and
do you butcher the answer like you did the first time I asked you right now?
Probably, okay. But you know what? We'll go on record. So we pitched for investment with a guy called James Caan. James is well known locally. He was on a show called Dragon's Den, the original Shark Tank, and he was one of the first investors. So he made his fortune in recruitment, since moved on to investments within the recruitment field. So we went to pitch to him, had a successful pitch, but had no idea of what the name of the company would be. And quite recently, too, Hayward Hawk had invested in a company called Carrington Fox and Jefferson Wolf, or if not him, his advisors or sort of next in line guys had. So we just were basically set in this mindset that, okay, Carrington Fox, Jefferson Wolf, so strong last name, strong animal name. And I'll be honest, I went through a lot of American football team rosters and found strong last names and then animal names. We came up with Hayward Hawk. We like the alliteration of it, and we like the sound of it. And it turns out that there is a minor league baseball team in Hayward, Wisconsin called the Hayward Hawks.
No way.
We've like knocked on their door in social media a lot, and they've never really responded. But there will be a day when I go to a Hayward Hawks baseball game, and I think they play in like a Western Wisconsin minor league baseball league. But unbeknown to us when we set up the company, that there was.
That was an attempt at a leading question. I thought I actually knew the answer.
Yeah,
I put the Hayward, Wisconsin part in it. I thought the Hawk was AJ Hawk.
Yeah. So and the Hayward is actually Casey Hayward, who was at the time on the Packers roster. So there is that link. So it's nothing to do with Hayward, Wisconsin. It just fell into place. So yeah, like a little bit embarrassed in terms of how we came up with the name, but we love the name. It's memorable. It works. It rolls off the tongue. And we've built a really good brand off the back of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Casey Hayward, AJ Hawk, if you're watching.
No, why not?
Exactly.
A product of the UW system. So it all works out.
So yeah, someday, but yeah, after that, find out about the Hayward Hawks. So someday we'll get over there and check out it. Yeah.
little collaboration in the making.
Exactly.
So you mentioned earlier you took a bit of a wayward path, for lack of a better term. Graduated high school, proud representation of the magenta and chocolate magenta, if you will. If you know, you know. But it's not entirely uncommon. I'll just take this from let's just say somebody leaving 12th grade, if you will, leaving high school to go to another country and spend all 4 years in college there.
Yeah.
And then come back, work for another place, spend about a decade there, and then be like, I'm going to start things on my own. So it stands to reason that there should have been plenty of times where you were presented, whether it be by your choice or by choice of others, where you're like, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go across the ocean. I'm going to spend 4 years there and go to school. I'm going to leave this company where I've got benefits, I've got security, and I'm going to start my own thing.
Yeah.
You must have run into people that said, I bet you can't do it.
Yeah.
I bet you won't do it.
Yeah.
Why'd you do it?
So in terms of the company-wise, I think it wasn't like a grand plan, and it sort of came to a point where it made sense. I think the delay was perhaps I just didn't know where I was going to live. Like when I moved back from Wisconsin, I loved it so much. Like, moving over there, first year was really tough. Didn't really fit in, didn't really, adapt that well, and I just didn't understand the culture, to be honest with you. And it took me a bit of time to get used to it. And then after that, I just fell in love.
Wisconsinites are a complicated bunch.
Yeah, I think Wisconsin, as a micro level, America as a macro level, it just took me a bit of adjustment. It was so different, like completely different. Not just the weather, because the winters are so harsh, but like just even interacting with just people in a classroom or in a bar or whatever was so much different. So I think when I fell in love with the place and moved back, I didn't know where I was going to be. So my wife at the time, she's not a dentist, but at the time was working in TV production. So kind of crazy. So thus the move to London. She had a job with a big TV station and was essentially creating game shows. So
no way.
That was her job for a number of years. So we moved to London for that reason, and I guess we didn't really know where we were going to be. And as a result, it kind of delayed, me maybe trying to do something on my own. We moved back to Belfast, and I was working for a company, really enjoying it, learning a lot, great bunch of people, but just kind of having like a burning desire to go out on my own. And I think at the time, within the Belfast market, no one had done it at that time. There was a sort of 3 companies that were doing what we did, but they had been mainstays in that community for years. We disrupted, and now we're 7.5, 8 years into our journey. There's quite a few have sort of joined us in the last couple of years, and new pop-up companies coming all the time. So there was a lot of people were saying, like, no one can do it, no one can break into that, stronghold. But I think I was confident in my vision. And then when we got the investment from someone like James Caan, that really added a lot of weight to it, because there was credibility, a guy who was I guess celebrity, and also a leader in the field, had backed us to do what we did. So it gave us sort of the final push. Not that I think we needed it, but it really, really helped us and got us over the line.
Did he understand your business, or did he just have faith in you and or the people that you put in positions to run it?
Yeah, so his career has been within the recruitment field. He understands it intricately, and so we had to do a pretty thorough business plan, present it to him, fly over to London, and pitch to him a number of times, and won him over and got investment, and got a nice little trip to his yacht in Monaco as well.
Just throw it in there.
Yeah, it works well.
Yeah, man. No, I have not had the pleasure.
Someday, Jim. Someday.
In due time, my friend.
Yeah.
So going off of that, kind of a little spur in a sense, you were doing what had been, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were doing what had been done, but in a way that it hadn't been done?
Way within our market, yes. Within the sort of global sphere of things, no. But we picked those ideas and we sort of run them up, and we just tried to see how we could disrupt the market, how we could do things a little bit differently, and how we could sort of focus on bringing a company we could be proud of, with energy, with focus, really utilizing social media. In 2016, that wasn't as prevalent as it is now, utilizing LinkedIn, Instagram, all different media outlets that we could. And again, the companies have sort of caught up. It's 2024 now, but 2016 we really grew out quickly. So yeah, James has been great. Good guy, texts me pretty regular, and has been a good help, and we've built a company really nicely over the last 7 years.
This wasn't planned per se. I've done a few episodes on I'll say the standard view, or at least in our situation here, the standard American view of the rich.
Yeah.
So you've basically got a multimillionaire, maybe billionaire in your phone.
Yeah.
With the understanding that he might watch this, but probably won't. But maybe one day, once this blows up, what's your view of rich people?
Well, good question. I wasn't prepared for this one.
Oh, I should have made it up.
Yeah, no. He has been incredible. Like, he is the recruitment guru. One of the top 10 most followed people on LinkedIn. I think he likes to say that he's got more followers than Barack Obama on LinkedIn. He's written a number of books. He's very focused. He's very articulate. Obviously, he's media training within all the TV shows he's been on. But he's very driven, and I suppose cutthroat to a point. But in a sensible sort of degree. He's got multi investments all around the world, from the US to mainland Europe, UK, Asia, etc.
The reason that I asked the question, because you talked about him a little bit already. He's an investor. I pitched this, the yacht, blah blah blah. But the part that triggered it was like, he texts me regularly.
Yeah,
he checks up. He checks in.
He's there if I need him, and more importantly, he's got a layer below him of his managers that look after us. So we've got a CFO, CEO, COO that are available every day to me. But James is available if I need him, and he will send us leads and send us advice and so on. So yeah, bought in. And again, look, we're one of his investments, so the better we do, the better he does. Right. But we've learned a lot from him.
Well, then correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things that I've kind of learned in trying to move up in status, move up in class, if you will, you said he's cutthroat.
Yeah.
Would you agree, and you don't have to if you don't want to, that it might be presumed as cutthroat, but in all reality, could it be better if you just said, like, he's got strict boundaries or hard standards?
Yeah, definitely.
But if you're not familiar with that, if you're not comfortable with that, if you're not aware of that, then it might come off as cutthroat. James, I don't know you from Adam. It might come off dickish.
No, like, definitely that. I think standards are something to live by. I think he knows how to be successful, and he's always open to new ideas and new methodologies and so on. But the standards of how something is run is there and in place, and you'll hear about it in a positive way and a negative way, as and when is needed. So yeah, listen, an impressive guy. Really enjoyed or have enjoyed working with him, and all the advice that we've got from him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So in the entrepreneurial space, in the managerial space, what keeps you motivated? What are you listening to? What are you watching? What are you reading?
Sure. Well, I think, like, motivation, and I think you'll, like, from conversations with you, like, motivations really come from your family. Like, and that's, like, I'm a family man. I've got a 4.5-year-old and 2.5-year-old, an amazing wife and so on. And, like, everything that that I do and I focus on is for them, and that drives me to be successful and provide for my family at a level that I want to be at. So that is my absolute 100% motivation is that. Well, yeah, my wife's actually probably more in tap with this, in terms of if she's recommending books to me all the time, she's recommending podcasts to me all the time. And
Is she aware of Fueled by Spite?
she is,
as she should.
And she's excited to be on an episode.
Hopefully,
a much better and more articulate guest than myself, but no, she is. So yeah, she's probably a lot more in tune with that. And again, like in terms of what I'm listening to and what I'm looking at, like I try to be as in tune with my market as I can be. So there's podcasts around recruitment from New York, from LA, from London, and so on. So I'm trying to always digest those and pick up new ideas and really go with that. And that's kind of what my focus is just like picking up just that little 5% here and there that we can do things a little bit differently, or a new idea this way or a new idea that way, or even a new market that I didn't even think about, because we're a very tech focused recruitment agency. But if we can go down a different road or a different path, we'll jump on that.
That's awesome. So that was the prepared stuff.
Okay,
I've got a list of rapid fire.
No.
Actually, side note, speaking of rapid fire, are game shows really big here?
Well, so yeah,
it seems like that. Like as I flip through, there's a lot of game shows.
So they are, and they're kind of like mid-afternoon TV. So Nicole's working a couple that were and I've been on a few pilots when
no way.
Yeah. So there's a great one, and she'll kill me for saying this, but there's one called Hostage to Fortune. So basically, five competitors, standard quiz show. But when you get a question right, everyone's got $1,000 or £1,000 or whatever. So you get a question right, you get to take £200 off this guy or this guy. And when someone goes to zero, they're out.
That's awesome.
Now, the last person standing was the winner, but you didn't get to take home your money. And this is why this show didn't work. You got to go to a racetrack and take $5,000 and get advice on which horse to bet on. So and if the horse won, you won with whatever, 25 grand or whatever, but it promoted gambling, and it just fell flat. Oh man, on a pilot, it got a really good host, a really well-known host, a guy called Richard Bacon, who is a pretty well-known UK TV host. So that was one of the ones that she did. She did get a show called Perfection, which had a number of series in the UK. And then she was just working on lots of different things. But for a big company, the company was famous because it was a company that, for her time, invented Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Oh, no way.
Obviously huge worldwide. So she joined.
Yeah, once it came to America.
Yeah.
Just like The Office.
Just like The Office. Yeah, you guys made it better.
Yeah.
And you did. And you did. The American Office is a fine TV show.
Yeah, this is another completely unrelated.
Yeah, we tangent there, but yeah, they're popular. I mean, I don't think I watch any, but certainly if you're off work sick, at 3 p.m., there's probably something on.
It's fair.
For sure.
So again, so the actual rapid fire, that was just a rapid thought.
Okay, yeah.
Grab. Give me a person you would trade places with for a day.
James Taylor.
Oh, I love that.
An inspiration, a friend for a long time. I would like to see the life in Dallas, Texas, but also just kind of, you've done a lot of things recently. Obviously, been very successful in your business and growing it out to what it is. But you've got mentors, you've got different groups that you're working with. So there's any number. But yeah, listen, you're a friend, but you're also an inspiration.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I said that to you. I'm not just saying that on a podcast, but yeah,
I appreciate that. I really do. Guilty pleasure. Mine is hearing compliments about me. What's yours?
I don't know. My guilty pleasure is good question. I don't know. I am a family man and I love my kids and so on, but a night alone with the Chinese watching rugby or football on the TV. That's my sort of like, I just need one of those every like 3 weeks.
Can argue with you.
Yeah, that's and specifically Chinese. That's my guilty pleasure. So yeah, just a night off daddy duties and chill time.
So, what's the worst advice you've ever got?
Ooh, good question. I think like when we were a smaller company, there was a lot of pressure on us. Like successful was based off of headcount. So I felt under pressure to hire a lot of people, and I probably dropped my standards in terms of, some of the people we hired. Now, hired some great people in those days. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, but I feel like we were under a lot of pressure to just have big headcount and nothing else mattered. Gross profit, EBITDA, all these sort of metrics didn't really matter, but how many people working for your business was a thing. So that was some advice that the people were given to us, and now it's it's quality. I mean, listen, we want to grow headcount, and that is always something that we're looking at, but the quality and sustainable growth, I suppose, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's probably
it's a quality over quantity thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Quality grows slowly, but it grows.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the best compliment you've ever received?
There's a certain amount of people that you take compliments from, and you might get compliments, on a daily basis and so on, but like there's some people where like it really kicks home. So like one of the things that I never really opened up about, but one of the reasons I moved to Eau Claire or Wisconsin was my father died when I was 15, and I was probably like maybe escaping a wee bit, or just need to get away and go somewhere like completely different.
Oh wait, so sorry, we're talking about you, not me.
Yeah, we're saying both.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so like
Frank Taylor's alive and well. Sorry.
Yeah, so I think like compliments is just like when my mom, who I'm like incredibly close to, just says she's proud of me or something like that. That's when it like kicks in. The waterworks start to kick up. Like you can get compliments from anyone and say like you're a good manager, or you've done this well, or you've done that well, or so on. But when like when someone close to home, or your wife or your mom, so I think it's just like a close family member saying they're proud of me.
It was actually a previous episode that I recorded. I had a stranger compliment me, and I went on. And I'm like, I'm gonna present this to the world. Look at the great things I'm doing. So good that this person that I don't know from Adam complimented me. I went to read it, and like on camera, go back and look for. I'm like, oh shit! I didn't expect this to happen. Stupid brain.
Yeah.
What is an idea you think most people get wrong?
Well, I think like if you're talking to me and you, and we have sort of went out and set up our own businesses, like I think a lot of people get stuck in the mindset that you go to college, you get a job, you work up through that job, and what it is what it is. You work for a corporation and so on. But when you go out on your own, and the opportunities and the scalability and so on that you can open up yourself, like becomes apparent, I think it's like you can't turn back from that. So I think it is that sort of mindset where, and don't get me wrong, like a lot of people have incredibly successful careers working for big organizations and big companies and so on. But I think an idea that is the only option to you, and you have to stick to that, and you can't go out and back yourself and really give yourself a try, is probably one of the most limiting factors that people have.
Just lack of belief in their own ability to do it.
Yeah, I think so.
I had this kind of struck me, just to kind of piggyback off of that. I was listening to a podcast on the way over here. It was not podcast, but a recording. It was a Bob Proctor one, and he's like, everything that we have now has always been here. Like the raw materials to make this iPad, the raw materials to make it, like it has always been here.
Yeah.
Just the knowledge and know-how and somebody stepping out to take a risk to do it hasn't happened until recently. Like, we've had cars for a while, but there were a point where we didn't have cars.
Yeah.
And somebody like, well, let's just put these things together.
Yeah.
Holy shit, look, it's the self-propelled automobile.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it's the same thing. It's the belief in oneself, just
100%. Yeah.
And falling and failing, you do it enough, it doesn't hurt anymore, or as much.
It's part of the journey. But I think it's when you do trip up and you do make a mistake, it's how you react to that. So I've made a lot of mistakes over the years and so on. And listen, I set up a recruitment agency. We went through Brexit within a couple of years, and then COVID kicked in as well. So there was a lot of pivoting. I can think of his Ross from Friends. But there was a lot of learning, but we also made standard mistakes. But I think it's if you continue to do those, and don't learn from them, then you're going around in circles. But I think if like you said, if you learn from your mistakes and change things up and then use them to drive yourself and the business forward, fantastic.
Last one. Is there a question that you wished I had asked you?
We have had conversations. So you visited me in September, and then this weekend. I know this weekend was kind of focused around a rugby match and so on. But we've had conversations where, I know what you've got going on, and I know how impressive you have been in, I was going to say recent years, but over a long period of time. There's a lot of your brain that I want to explore. But no, I think, there's a funny relationship between myself and you and a lot of our friends, where we just started playing this silly sport in this strange college in Western Wisconsin. And I still think of this, my mom, asked me on my first year in university, have you seen lots of America? Have you seen Arizona? Have you seen so on? It's I've driven to Rockford, Illinois. I've driven to River Falls, Wisconsin, and I've driven Racine, Wisconsin, and it all looks the same. It's the Midwest, and it's a 5-hour trip, and a low standard rugby. But what was born out of that was friendships that have lasted for a long time. And you talk about Mike Schatz, who's been on a previous episode, and a number of other guys. There is this sort of strange brotherhood, and it's amazing, and it works. And I've seen a number of your podcast episodes where you talk about moving to Dallas and interact, or straight away going after the local rugby teams and growing out from that. And we've all got this sort of strange relationship where we get together every couple of years, and now it's evolved to a point where we're professional, we've got our own businesses and so on, and we're sharing ideas. So in terms of what I wish you had asked me, not really. I mean, I think we have good conversations now, and we've evolved it from just having a bunch of beers in a bar to actually talking about how we can help ourselves, and what opportunities there are, and meetups and groups and so on. So it's kind of cool how it's went from quarter taps and shenanigans and Waterson to where it is now. What a great place to start. Don't get me wrong.
Now there's a lot of foundational groundwork that was laid at quarter taps. Keenan's.
Absolutely.
It's apparently under new ownership. / I gotta go talk to the new owner.
See there's a photo of all of us,
right?
About 15 yeyears ago on the walls,
right?
Yeah. No, good times.
Well, man, I appreciate the time. Thank you for making the trip up here.
The 40-minute flight.
That's right. Again, guys, share, follow, as always, Mr. Ritchie Waterson.
Thank you.
As I say it every time, and this is meant to get out there to share perspective, to share ideas, to share just different ways about doing things, because generally out there, and I'm sure you can attest to this, there's really only two types of people. There's either just fucking idiots, or there's people who are uninformed. So at least after listening to this, they can no longer say that they're uninformed.
Good to know that we can swear in this.
That's right. I've been dropping here and there.
Going out there. No, but you're right. And this is a great thing that you do, and really, really cool, and great to be a part of.
Man, I appreciate your time. Yeah. Again, like always, guys, you will learn more here by accident than elsewhere by design, right here, fueled by spite. If you want to get in on this, if you want to sit on this couch in this chair, or come back and meet us in DFW in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, slide into our DMs. But until then, share, follow. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.